Hello and welcome to One Cool Thing, PC Mag's daily show where we show you one cool thing which we are testing out here in PC Mag Labs. I'm Sasha Segan, this is Ajay Kumar, and today we have the Moto Z3 with all of these different add-ons, right?
Plenty of add-ons. There is one add-on we don't have and we won't have till 2019, and that is the 5G add-on.
Okay, and that's of course the one that everybody wants to talk about as regards the Moto Z3, and we will get into the Moto Z3's 5G capabilities in a few minutes, especially if you ask some questions. Ask us questions about 5G, seriously do. But first, let's go down. So this is the Moto Z3. Is this Motorola's flagship for the year? Do we know that?
This is not Motorola's flagship, and I would say that Motorola doesn't really have a flagship at this point. This is, I would say, so you have the Z3 Play and you have the Z3, and this is slightly better than the Z3 Play because it has a better processor, but it's still last year's processor.
So last year's processor, we're talking about Qualcomm Snapdragon
835.
Okay. And what does that mean in terms of performance? Like, do we really care?
So if you're not someone who's going to be running benchmarks all the time, it doesn't seem to make a lot of difference. It has 4 gigs of RAM, which is starting to look a little bit low for Android, but it can still handle everything fine. It's smooth, no slowdowns. It can handle PUBG on high graphics settings. So it doesn't really make a difference, and I think the key thing here is that it's for $80 on Verizon.
Oh.
So an 835, it's last year's, but this is like a higher end mid-range price rather than like, you know, a really expensive flagship price.
Now, is this exclusive to Verizon?
It is exclusive to Verizon.
Okay, so give me the other specs here: screen resolution, camera, anything else going on?
So in a lot of regards, it's more or less the same as the Z3 Play. The screen is a 1080 screen. It's 18:9. You can see thin, narrow bezels. The fingerprint sensor has been moved to the side. You can disable the software buttons. You can use swipe gestures to control it. There's dual, I believe these are 16 or 12 megapixel cameras on the back. They can shoot in black and white. They're a little bit on the lower side of just in terms of sharpness. So like in low light, they're not so great. They tend to blur a lot. So I would say these are actually closer to the Z3 Play in terms of camera performance. In other regards, the same screen as the Play, same general, swift performance, lightweight Android, but there are a lot of Verizon apps preloaded.
Oh, because it's a Verizon phone.
It is a Verizon phone.
Okay, so now mods, of course, have been for a couple of years now the big deal with the Moto Z series. These are these magnetic add-ons that you can physically extend the capabilities of the phone with. What do we have here, and which of these mods do you actually recommend?
So there's a big collection of mods that Motorola has. I think the most popular ones that people buy are probably the speaker mod and the battery pack mod. So if you want a little bit of extra juice on this, you just can slap on a battery pack and you're good to go. It connects right away. There's some firmware, it'll install it automatically. And you can set whether you want it to start charging right away or top up as you drain.
Now, I've noticed we have 3 different speaker mods here. Do we prefer one over the others?
Not particularly. When you're looking at a speaker this size, they're all more or less going to sound the same. The thing is that someone must be buying different speaker mods because Motorola keeps rolling them out. So, but in terms of sound quality, I would say that I like the JBL a lot. It's a little bit bassier, at least from what I've played.
This is just like a Moto branded one?
Yeah, this is a Moto branded mod. I'm not sure if it's intended to be waterproof or rugged because it kind of looks like that, but the phone isn't waterproof. It's just splash resistant. So I don't know if I'd call this a beach mod, but so there's the speaker, the really expensive mods, and the ones that Motorola kind of showcased, but mostly as bragging rights, is the InstaShare projector, and it projects whatever's on your screen, so you can kind of use it to set up a quick projector. And of course the Hasselblad Camera, which is $300, but it does turn your phone into an almost a capable point and shoot. And
now I used the Hasselblad Camera at CES last year, and I use it pretty heavily to do show photography at CES. The problem with the Hasselblad Camera mod is that it takes really nice photos. It has a 10x physical zoom, but it's slow.
It is very slow.
It is dog slow. And that is ultimately, like, I wanted to recommend the Hasselblad Camera mod, and I could totally recommend it for taking pictures of things that didn't move in situations where I could stand still for a while and let it load. But just the speed of booting and running the mod was kind of a buzzkill.
And even zooming is a little bit on the slower side.
Yeah. So mostly, I think it's about speakers and batteries with the mods right now. Except that, let's talk about, so the big mod that they announced at the time they announced the Z3 was this 5G mod.
Right, which we don't have and won't be coming out till 2019 if it does.
Yeah, and that really just feels to me like bragging rights. It feels like a bragging rights mod. I got to see the 5G mod. I got to see a prototype of the 5G mod at Motorola's headquarters. It is big. It's basically like one of these.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's about the size of one of these speaker mods. So you would be carrying your phone around, and if you want it to be a 5G phone, it's now this thick.
Okay, and this is the same time as other 5G phones will be coming out.
Presumably, yeah. I mean, we're expecting more 5G announcements. I'm expecting 5G announcements maybe as soon as Mobile World Congress Americas in September. Definitely by Mobile World Congress Barcelona in February. So when this mod is going to come out amongst a slew of new 5G phone announcements.
Wow. So, and you held the mod, right? You saw it. So when you're holding it, does your hand block the antennas? Where's the antenna array? Is it?
So that's one of the interesting things about the 5G mod. So once more, using the speaker to kind of pretend it's the mod, it has 4 antennas, and the antennas are there are 4 antennas in 4 different locations. So no matter how you're holding it, unless you're going like this.
Okay.
At least one of the antennas is exposed, and it switches to that antenna. So that really, really helps.
Okay.
Yeah. Because because it's millimeter wave, which is this very short range, very sensitive technology that can be really easily blocked by your body or by buildings, and so exposing the antenna is really important.
Okay. And what does that mean for battery life? And does it have its own battery? So
it has its own. So it's a 3,000 battery in here, right? Okay.
Same as the Z3.
What'd you get in terms of battery testing?
So when streaming LTE video, we got 7 hours 35 minutes, which isn't bad. That's on the slightly higher side of average.
It's no Galaxy Note 9.
It's no Note 9,
but it's also probably half as thick as the Note 9, is my guess. Yeah. So the 5G mod has another 2,000 battery in it.
Okay.
And
so about the size of a power pack.
Yeah, it's about the battery of a power pack.
Right.
So it has another 2,000 battery in it, and it has 2 of its own modems.
Okay.
It has a 5G modem and an X24 4G modem in there. So when you have the mod plugged in, actually all of your 4G data is going to be going through the more advanced X24 4G modem in the mod.
Huh.
As opposed to the built-in modem in the phone. And then the phone's modem only handles phone calls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Let's take some questions.
Was there a price attached to that mod?
No, we don't know how much it costs. We don't know how much the mod is going to cost. We don't know how much Verizon's 5G service plan is going to cost. We don't even know what cities it's going to be initially available in. They've announced a couple of cities, but they say there will be a whole list of cities, and they have not given that whole list out. It's very, very much like Verizon and Motorola just wanted to be able to say first, like you do as a YouTube commenter. Like this was a giant multi-billion-dollar corporation dropping the comment first. Yeah. And as you know, as a commenter, that doesn't actually get you anything.
Do we have an idea of who else might announce 5G at that time?
So Sprint and T-Mobile have both said that they are going to be talking about 5G phones in Barcelona in February.
Okay.
So that is gonna happen. And who the phone manufacturers are, I'm not altogether sure. I feel like Samsung and LG have to be up in that mix.
Right.
Because Samsung is making Verizon's home 5G routers. So Samsung has 5G modems for Verizon. They're just, they're just not they haven't brought it together into the phone thing yet.
Right.
So, okay, so $480 on Verizon. What does this compete with? How do we, how do we compare it in terms of recommendations?
So this kind of competes, like, this is the same phone that, like, kind of straddles the, the top tier phones and the, lower mid-range, but since it's a carrier phone and Verizon is subsidizing it, so you can get, it's $480, just MSRP. There are payment options. You can pay monthly. That brings it down.
It's $20 a month.
Yeah, that makes it really reasonable. And so if you're willing to if you're a Verizon customer and you're okay with Snapdragon 835 and you want like a phone that's not going to cost you $700 or $800 or even more than that, then this is a capable phone. It can work with Moto Mods. It's actually a little bit cheaper than the Z3 Play, which is unlocked.
I know we're talking about an 835 versus an 845 phone, but this feels like Verizon's answer to the OnePlus 6.
It is, yeah. That's actually the main comparison when I was testing these two. It won't match the camera, and the OnePlus 6 is faster. It has a lot of RAM. It has, I believe, also an 845.
That's an 845.
But same screen resolution. And generally, it's the same kind of like generally lightweight Android software. So it's definitely competing in that category. So if you're a Verizon customer specifically, then this makes it a lot better option because you can't use the OnePlus 6 on Verizon.
Right. And so this gives you, I think, like if you've been thinking about phones like the OnePlus 6, like these kind of flagship killers is the old phrase for it.
Yes.
Remember flagship killers?
I remember that branding. That was great.
So if you're thinking about flagship killers as opposed to flagships themselves, this really feels like where it's at on Verizon right now. Any more questions out there? Nope. Okay. So so this is the Moto Z3 for Verizon. Do we have right, the review is re-indexing, right?
It is indexing. It should be. But
What's the rating?
It's going to be the same as the Z3 Play. We're looking at 4 stars just because it's on Verizon, it's subsidized, it's a good phone, and you can use Moto Mods. 5G is bragging rights until then.
Yeah, basically don't buy it for the 5G. Buy it because it is a affordable, high-quality phone, and you don't feel like spending $750 today. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you all for watching. This has been One Cool Thing from PCMag.com with the Moto Z3, a 4-star phone for Verizon. If you have been watching us live on Facebook, thank you for coming into the live show. We will have another live show at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow on Facebook. If you are watching us on YouTube anytime, then please like and subscribe. We have a new One Cool Thing on YouTube every day. Thanks a lot.